How you doing? So, my name is Ama Asantiwa. I am the Waymaker. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a woman who is learning to love herself and know herself better. I am a woman who helps others to love themselves and know themselves better. I am striving to create a new life for me and my family. And I am someone who works to help others do the same. I share my experience so that others may be healed from it, so that I may venture into new levels, deeper levels of healing as a result of what is catalyzed when I share my information with others. I am a spiritual advisor. I am an executive virtual assistant. Um, I'm an herbalist. I am a crystal healer. I'm a variety of things. But what I am most is someone who acknowledges that there is much more that she doesn't know than she does. And what I am most is someone who is intent on creating life based on what feels true to her, instead of what has been given to me by others, by the world, and by others. And I do this video in that spirit today. I did a video on Facebook a couple weeks ago, and it was requested by a dear friend that I shared the message, that he be able to share the message. But I couldn't because it was just on Facebook, and these people don't have social media. So I've been wanting to do a video, and that video was about making decisions for yourself, making decisions for your life based on what you feel is right for you, and then watching what happens, watching the universe meet you, watching your life blossom, watching your fruits unfold. And so I come to you today in that spirit, in that message. My plan is to load this up to YouTube so more people have access to it. And I'm aware that there is a plethora of voices and opinions out there. Um, I do not seek to share an opinion, but I do seek to share my experience and what I've learned from it so that those who will may benefit from it, and so that those who may reach out to me, so that I may benefit from them. And so, in that being said, I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna start with my life as it is today, because every day is a different day, and every day you're a different person. And I am not the person I was 2 weeks ago when I made that video, but I do know her very well, and many parts of her are still here. Um, I'll speak a little bit about what I was dealing with then, but it's gonna come from where I am now. So you're gonna see me playing with my eyelashes and all of that. I'm not usually this dolled up. I'm literally on a business shoot today. I've never done a professional photo shoot or professional makeup before, so I'm leaving this shit on all day long so that I can bask in it for as long as possible. But what I want to say is, so the day started with contemplation. We had to get up early this morning to leave the house so that we could be at the makeup studio, and then later at the location, on location for the shoot, for both shoots, the photo and the videography. And so I was kind of slow getting out of the bed this morning. And the reason that I was slow getting out of the bed is because I didn't sleep well. I woke up a lot, and I've been getting these cold sweats in the night. Now, I don't do night sweats. So of course I'm 37, and the first thing I thought was maybe this is premenopause or something. And then I was talking to my sisters, or the collaborators in this business project, and in sharing the situation with them, they told me that it may be overactive or an abundance of yang energy in my heart chakra, and that may be leading to the sweats. Now that identifies, I feel that truth, because I didn't start the sweats until my daughter told me that she was sweating at night. And I didn't realize it until I kind of thought about it when they started and what was going on at the time that they started. But they literally started that night or the next night. And there's so many things that I'm still learning to understand spiritually. But one thing I know is when you feel the truth, when your intuition, when your gut, when your spirit, when your soul affirms truth to you, that it's best to roll with it. Or else the universe is going to have to prepare you for another lesson to learn that same thing. I don't like to waste time. I'm a double Capricorn. So when I hear something, I've gotten to the point where if it resonates, I'm going to go with it. I've been amidst a lot of transformation and transmutation in my life. My family has been amidst a lot of transformation and transmutation over the last 10 months. In the last year, I left my home. I moved across the country. I married another man. I started a life with this man in this new place with my daughters. We're living a life that is completely different than the life that we left, but it is the life that I have always wanted to live, or it's the life that I've wanted to live in transition to what I always want, because what I ultimately want is much grander. But this is where I saw myself in the transition. This is, since I've been growing spiritually, this is the way I've wanted to live my life, and I hadn't been able to. And the reason that I wasn't able to is because I had a whole life built up, as many of us do, based on things that are not of us. They were given to us either by our parents, or by the people who raised us, or by our community, or our family, or by society, or the world, or the government, or whoever, or whatever. Religion, there's always something. And I got to a point in my life, and for me, it was when I became a mother. Everyone's specific trigger is different. It's okay.
You want to go? We're going to go on a walk.
Okay, great. I'm doing a video.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Okay. Everybody's specific trigger is different, but for me, it was becoming a mother. And when I became a mother, I knew in the back of myself that there were a myriad of issues from childhood that I had not dealt with. I knew that I had issues from the molestation that I suffered at the hands of my father. I knew I had issues from the abandonment that I suffered from my mother. I knew I had issues that I had to unpack from being raised by my grandmother and my grandfather. And all these people love me, including my father who molested me. He loved me too. He was either molested or saw his sisters molested. So that is a whole nother layer of that, which I don't have a relationship with him anymore, but I don't hold any grudges. I'm doing what I need to do for me to be free. And I thank the ancestors for the level that I'm able to operate in, and for the mindset that I came here with and that I've cultivated over these last 37 years. Because sometimes I don't know where it comes from. Um, but that being said, my life was not my own. Once I became a mother, I did not want to pass on any of that to my children. I did not want to perpetuate the generational curses that I was born with, that my mother was born with, that my grandmother was born with. I did not want to, I wanted to start something new. I wanted them to breathe life easier. I wanted them to have a better chance. I wanted them to be able to decide what their life would be. And I wanted them to be able to do that without having to unpack a host of trauma, a host of indoctrination, a host of social conditioning, that would make it that much harder and that much longer to get to the point where you know who you are, and you're able to make a life based on what you truly know of yourself, which is the way it's supposed to be. And so once I became a mother, I decided that I was not going to put those things off any longer. And so it brought me to this mirror point where I was looking in the mirror and I was about to have a nervous breakdown. I felt like I was having a nervous breakdown. I didn't know who I was seeing in the mirror. The person didn't look familiar to me at all. It was my face, but she didn't look familiar. When I looked in her eyes, I didn't know who she was, and it freaked me the fuck out. But I knew I was standing there in the body. And at that point, I knew I was either going to let go, and I had no idea what was going to happen on the other side of letting go, which means flowing into this breakdown, or I was going to make a decision to pull myself together, which meant living transparently, which meant facing everything that was um, unaligned in my life. And it was a lot at the time. And I come from a little small town in Mississippi. And I'm a person who is very quiet and very private. I don't even want to say private, but just quiet. So I don't have a lot of social contacts. And it was a it was a it was a big deal for me. It was a big deal for me. But I knew that I needed to do something different. So, me deciding not to break down, me deciding not to fall apart, I knew my only other option was to move forward, was to face everything that I hadn't wanted to face. I didn't know what else I needed to do, but I knew I needed to start with those things. And so that's what I did. And at the time, the biggest issues in my life were my lack of self value and self worth, and my issues within my marriage, which um, helped to perpetuate a lot of the other things that was going on in my life, a lot of the other things I was dealing with. And so first, what I started with was working on myself. I wanted to, and this kind of coincided with an awakening of a societal awakening in such a way that everything, because for me, the parental piece of it, I was face to face with what did I want to give my girls? What did I want to teach my girls? What do I want them to know about this world? And so I had to confront everything that I had been given. It was not enough for me to just pass down what had been given to me. It was not enough for me to just raise them the way that I had been raised. That was insufficient. And so that meant that I had to craft and create and find and dig for whatever it is I was going to give them, whatever I was going to teach them, whatever I wanted them to know. It was not something in front of me. I had to seek it out. And in just learning about so many things, even in learning about how to rear a child, how to nourish a child, breastfeeding, and so many other things that I didn't understand the value of growing up. All these things I learned in the process of wanting to provide more for my daughters. And so that spurred me into this other realm of self evolution. And I was learning so much about the way things were, and histories that had not been told, and realities that were not common knowledge to the view that I had of the world no longer matched the knowledge and what I and the awareness, the new awarenesses that I had formed. And I wanted to, it was vital to me that I got to a point where my life matched the information that I had. My life, I wanted the life that I was living to align with the new awarenesses that I had developed, with the new reality that I wanted for myself. I wanted my life to be that. And so I stopped taking in information. I put the books down and I started focusing on making changes in my physical life so that I was living as I needed to live for the health of my soul and my spirit. And it meant changing everything. It meant changing how I interacted with people. It meant changing how I interacted with myself. It meant changing how I make decisions. It meant changing what I consider when I'm deciding, everything. I had to change a lot of things. And some of those changes were diving deeper into myself, standing up more for myself, being more persistent about the things that I wanted, about the way that I saw things, instead of giving credence to what other people said and the way other people saw things and the way other people process things. Because at the end of the day, this is not their life. This is my life. These are not their daughters. These are my daughters. This is my legacy. And one day will be their legacy. And I'll be damned if anybody outside of me, outside of us, is going to be the determinant for how that goes. So I say to you today, take whatever you have within you that is urging you to make decisions for yourself. Do that. Do that. Nobody else can do that for you. Your life will never be what you need it to be until you start to make decisions for yourself and take your path into your own hands. I wish you well. I give you love, and I hope that everything goes the way you need it to. But in the meantime, stay in the game, because as long as you continue to play, it will work out in your highest good. Ashe.